So let's get rid of this stupid system. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're heading to the shop because that's where I have to be to actually do this process. Today, we're going to be finally getting rid of the AFM, DOD, whatever you want to call it, GM's cylinder deactivation. Pretty much the trucks go into 4-cylinder mode when there's light load or on decel, and to save, you know, fuel, right? As we all know, if you guys are familiar with any of those systems, Dodge did it. I don't think Ford did it, but Dodge with the Hemi also did the same exact thing. I think they used the same lifters, and I believe it's the same cylinders that are deactivated. You have 16 lifters within your V8 engine. And then since 4 cylinders are going to be deactivated, that means 8 of those 16 lifters are going to have a little spring on them that allows them to collapse when pretty much an oil pressure solenoid tells them to, which is like a plate under the intake, pretty much over the lifter valve, kind of lifter valve. It's not really a small block, but you get the gist of it. It sends pressured oil into the side of these lifters, which allows them to collapse, and therefore it can't move the lift. It can't move the push rod, it can't move the rocker arm, and therefore it can't move the valve. And that's great and all, but when you consider all of the things that it affects, I'm not talking just engine, it affects the transmission, everything else, the process to actually fixing these things once they go bad, because they will go bad, it's not worth it. Just get rid of it. Tell the truck to stop doing it. You can either buy a little dongle that goes into your OBD2 port, which tells pretty much the ECM to don't do that. But what we're gonna do is a permanent fix, because if you unplug one of those dongles, it goes back into regular standard protocol, where it will go into V4 mode on low demand and decel. We're gonna hook up HP tuners to this thing and actually just disable its ability to do it entirely. And if you consider how much one of those little dongles cost compared to how much it takes to get into HP tuners on a vehicle to get into an ECM, in some cases it's cheaper, in some cases it's just as expensive. So why not just do HP tuners? Because not only on HP tuners can you disable the DOD, you can go in and change so many things. I did the same thing on my Monte Carlo. Click up here if you guys want to see that with the 5.3 V8 in it. We're going to be doing pretty much just that on this thing. Mine only goes into V4 mode in overdrive lockup on decel. It not light load or anything. It's only on decel, which is really odd. I've never seen that. Then again, maybe it's just how they had this one programmed. I'm not 100% sure. It barely saves any gas if you consider how much damage it will cause in comparison to the fuel economy savings. It is not worth it in the slightest. Because I mentioned to you guys a second ago, transmission problems. Every time it goes into 4-cylinder mode, the torque converter has to slip to allow that to happen, so you don't feel a big shudder in the truck, or you don't feel a clunk or a change in power or anything. Like it's pretty seamless, but at the cost of your torque converter constantly slipping to account for it. None of it is worth it. So we're gonna be getting rid of it. I'll pick you guys back up when we're at the shop. All right, guys, so I have just purchased the 2 credits that it costs on HP tuners to actually access the ECU. And usually it's 2 credits, at least for GM vehicles. You can do either like GM credits or universal credits. I don't know why there's 2 options, because they both cost the same amount and they both require 2 credits. So it doesn't matter which route you go. It was, how much was it total? To get into this one vehicle, it was $99.98. So literally it cost $100, but you can get, once you're into the ECU, my bad, it doesn't matter. You can literally do anything, quite literally almost anything, and you have access to this ECU for life. I have access to this truck's ECU literally for the entire time that I have it. And then if somebody bought the truck off you, you could kind of charge them a little bit, be like, listen, I already have this ECU unlocked on my HP tuners. You could sell it to them for maybe like, I don't know, $50 at that point. that means you only pay 50 bucks and they get to continue using it for whatever they want on said vehicle. So it's just a better idea to do HP tuners instead of just buying that dongle that plugs right into your OBD2 port down here. It's just a better idea in general. I'm gonna get the laptop hooked up to the truck here. I'm gonna go through the menus, then I'll pick you guys back up once we are in the menu to actually delete it, and then I'll show you, I'll like backtrack and show you guys how to actually access that menu and everything, but not complicated in the slightest, and it's 100% worth it. So give me 1 second, I'll get this all hooked up and then I'll show you guys what we're doing. All right guys, so we got her hooked up down there, she's blinking. And we have the laptop going right now, and she is currently reading the vehicle. Now, obviously it has to read the vehicle first because it needs to know what's going on pretty much. And what you need to 100% do is save a completely stock version of whatever you're starting with. Obviously the vehicle ran and drove just fine. Save a stock variant of this tune somewhere where you'll always know where it's at. So if for some reason you edited something on it and something wasn't happy, something wasn't working correctly, God forbid you start the vehicle back up and it doesn't start or some reason like that, you have the stock tune file. Another thing I recommend, just have it on a trickle charger while you're doing this. It shouldn't take that long, but you have to have the key rolled forward so it can communicate with the ECU. So just have it on a trickle charger or just something, just so the battery doesn't go dead, because if your battery goes dead halfway through you flashing a new tune file onto this thing, that is not good. You can see it's cycling through a bunch of stuff. StabiliTrak off. It's just because it's reading it. It's going through everything and it's just reading all of it. Traction control off. You guys can even read that. All the lights are lit up. That's normal. Did the same thing on the Monte Carlo. It's just because it's going through every individual system. Once this thing's done, it does take a little while. I'll pick you guys back up when we're ready to save a file for this truck, and then we can finally go in and start modifying all this stuff. Oh, it actually just finished right here. So you guys can see I have all the Monte Carlo saves right here from that previous video I was talking to you guys about. What we're gonna do, since it's gonna be saved in the same thing, we're gonna put 2007 Avalanche stock tune, and we're going to save that. It's going to go right into the same, it's going to go into the HP Cartoons folder. Boop. Now the stock tune file is 100% saved. All we're going to do is come up here to, now for this case scenario, I'm doing, you know, said things, but you can go engine diag, transmission, trans diag, fuel, systems, system itself, speedo. That helps if you put bigger tires on it and your speedometer's off, you can enter in the dimensions of your tires and then it'll equate for that. So that's really nice to have. Again, this is why I would choose to do this over just buying a dongle any day of the week, just because of the amount of customization you have with HP tuners. Definitely worth the money. You can see, you can come in here, you can go to idle, airflow, it has all the parameters right here. Fuel, I know that it's very obvious where it's at right there. Look how obvious that is right here. So you go fuel, you go lean/fuel saving, DOD. Is that focused on right there for you guys? DOD enabled. Get out of here. Boom. And then obviously once we write this to the vehicle, that is literally all you need to do. That's it. It's that easy. So if you can, the amount of clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, completely disables DOD from ever happening again, ever. It pretty much just tells that now all the components, like that the oil pressure solenoid and everything for it, those lifters are obviously all still in the engine, but they can no longer go into 4-cylinder mode. That little solenoid will never send oil pressure to those lifters for them to collapse anymore. And then what we also have is this thing had a few Evap codes that I'm just gonna get out of here. One more thing too, guys. A lot of people, I see so many people saying, oh, it's not actually displacement on demand, it's AFM or vice versa. On HP tuners, on the GM, it is literally called displacement on demand, DOD. And if you guys don't recall, the engine cover on the Monte Carlo says in big bold letters, displacement on demand. It is DOD. Some people call it AFM. I heard like Ford sued GM for using DOD. I'm not 100% sure. All I'm just saying is that it says DOD on the damn laptop and it says DOD on the Monte Carlo's engine cover. And it also says DOD in the HP tuners on the Monte Carlo. So I don't know what to believe. I've always called it DOD. I will continue to call it DOD just because of that right there. But whatever. Let me shut up. I just wanted to say that real quick. We'll get to the toggling on and off different check engine light specifications, and then I'll pick you guys back up. All right, guys, I'm really dumb. I don't know how I didn't see this before. I was looking around for how to get to that screen. I was like, oh, where's it at? It's an engine diag. So here's literally everything. Everything that could ever be anything, right? So you can see right here. SES enable. That stands for service engine soon enable. All right. So if you toggle these on or off, it will set a check engine light, correct? So you guys can see right here, O2 sensors, they're all there. They can set a check engine light if, you know, the criteria is not met. What we're looking for here is Evap, because again, this is like a 18-year-old truck. I'm not gonna go back there and try to figure out why it has a small leak detected for the Evap system. It's probably the charcoal canister or one of the lines going to it. I ain't gonna mess with that. We're just gonna get rid of it, like right now. If I could find it. There's a lot of stuff in here. Here, all the Evap system. So you guys can see right here. Evap, evaporative emission system, leak detected, small leak. It can set a check engine light on first error. Get out of here. Emissions, nope. Again, okay, government or whoever's watching this, this is not the end of the world. This truck is not polluting like freaking crazy. All this is just fuel tank vapors, right? Now, it's still probably doing a halfway decent job for the age of the truck at containing these vapors. There's just a leak in it somewhere. It's not the end of the world, okay? The truck still has cats, it still has a stock exhaust, everything, all right? It still has all the emission stuff in place, none of it's gone. We're just disabling its ability to set a check engine light on the cluster, all right? If you hooked up a rear to this, you can still see, hey, it's setting the light for it. But we're getting rid of it. Vent solenoid, anything evap, all this is doing is disabling its ability to set a check engine light, because obviously you guys know it's winter time here. I have remote start on this truck, and remote start doesn't work if there's a check engine light present for any reason, right? Crankshaft position sensor or a freaking small leak detector on your evap system. It don't matter, it will set a light and you won't be able to start the truck remotely until the light's cleared. So what we're just gonna do is go in here and get rid of all that. Engine coolant over temp can set a check engine light. We want to keep that, you know, all the safety stuff in here, we want to keep that, you know, cooking pretty good. Disable the DOD. Get rid of it. All right, you don't need it. GM still does it to this day, and it's nothing but bad news bear. Shit breaks. I've seen brand new trucks with 11,000 miles on them, a brand new GMC, lifters, shot, or at least one of them. One of them totally collapsed, dead, wiped out the cam, everything on an 11,000 mile truck. And this thing has 220,000 miles on it. You did good, but we're getting rid of it. It won't fix the problem because it still has those components in it, but it will prolong the drastic outcome. I had to do a little bit of troubleshooting online because it was a sync and something wrong with it being not synced right. So I had to come up here, I had to click help and I had to go through it, resync interface, all that stuff. Apparently it wasn't doing it right, but now we have the ability to come in here and apply these credits to it. So let's press OK. Are you sure? Can I be undone? Yes, I am sure. All right, we have it right here. We're going to write the vehicle. You see the truck's freaking out a little bit. No reason to bore you guys with it. Another thing too, guys, you guys might have noticed. It might be like, hey, the truck looks a little different. We got some different wheels on it. They're questionable. I'm not 100%, you know, liking them like 100% yet, probably because it has a rake, as you guys can see. Back here, if I put a fist on top of the tire, we're almost touching the fender right here. Do the same thing. I can't even hit it with my thumb. Oh, I guess she's done. Right, completed. Right there, we're gonna go close. Now what we're gonna do is, I just like to do this. We're gonna cycle the key on and off a few times. All right, ready? See if she fires. There you go. We'll have to road test it, but this should stay in V8 mode. If you guys can see that, this should stay in V8 mode the entire time, regardless of anything. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take it for a little road trip and see if this actually fixed it. It should have. There's no reason why it shouldn't have. We're gonna test it real quick. All right, let's give her a road test. Now I still have the HP tuners hooked up to it, but it's not doing anything right now. We're gonna give it a road test. I'm gonna leave it in drive because that's the only time it would actually go into 4-cylinder mode. On drive, on decel, is the only time it would ever go into 4-cylinder mode. So we're gonna find out if I did in fact fix that problem. I'm gonna set cruise at 40, and then we're going to disable cruise, and then fingers crossed it, you know, it wrote to the vehicle correctly. So we got cruise set at 40 right now. You guys can see down there, V8 mode on the right of the digital screen. I'm gonna cancel cruise in 3, 2, 1. And look at that, it's still in V8 mode. What do you know? That's what this truck should have had from factory. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming over the Avalanche here. We got tons of videos coming over this thing. This thing still sounds like a stocky, and we do not want that. Anyways, guys, like I said, stay tuned for more videos coming over the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content coming over the channel. Monte Carlo won't be away too much longer. And anyways, I'll see all you guys in the next one.